welcome to another amazing edition of Ottawa International Book Expo podcast presents. We have an amazing author and publisher today, Rhonda Penders. She'll be introducing us to the Wild Rose Press. So take it away, Santosh.
Rhonda Penders is the editor-in-chief of the Wild Rose Press. She and her business partner, R.J. Morris, opened their publishing house in 2006 and continue to be the sole owners today. TWRP, as it is affectionately nicknamed, is a traditional publisher and works with authors of adult fiction and YA. They do not work with children's books, poetry, or memoir. In addition to being a home for traditionally published authors around the world, the Wild Rose Press also offers a la carte services to help authors who wish to self-publish. Penders has been on both sides of the query process and brings a special touch of compassion to authors. She believes that publishing is a team effort between the author, the editor, and the publisher. She has worked as a small-town newspaper reporter, a confessional magazine writer, and is a published romance author. She enjoys talking with authors about their work and answering questions they have about the publishing process. You can follow TWRP on Facebook, and Twitter is at Wild Rose Press, and Instagram is at The Wild Rose Press. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. We're very much anxious to learn more about the Wild Rose Press.
Sure.
So the first thing I want to know about a Wild Rose Press is, what was your sort of inspiration for bringing it together? Because it seems that you have like a journalistic background. So I guess there was a need for sort of, you found a need based upon sort of your experience in publishing and journalism and media. So tell us about that sort of process, because definitely when I checked out the site, there seems to be a lot of fabulous books on there. You're an award-winning publisher. So tell us more about your sort of inspiration and how you got it started.
Well, the inspiration was kind of easy. Back in 2006, my partner, R.J. Morris, and I were published authors, and we didn't like how publishers as a whole treated authors. It was very closed door. You waited a very long time to hear back. You never could email an editor direct and ask questions. You sort of sent your submission in back then in the mail, if you remember the mail days, and you waited months and months to find out if you were accepted or not. And more often than not, you received a form rejection letter that just said thanks, but no thanks. And we just felt that it could be a better experience for authors, that there could be a way for publishers and authors to work together and break down those barriers. And at the same time, we were lucky because in 2006, if you'll go back that far, ebooks were just starting to come on board. People weren't really downloading books at that time. They were just starting to. And so we had this idea, this vision to start a company where we could publish books electronically and get them out quicker to the reading public, at the same time breaking down these barriers. So that's kind of what our mission was when we started this.
Awesome. So definitely, we meet authors all the time who just like, they send all their manuscripts to all these kind of, publishers. They just get completely ignored. Like I was just speaking to a writer yesterday, that said he checked, he sent his manuscript and they never heard back from him. And sometimes, authors wondering, did they steal it or what are they doing with it? So you have much emphasized communication and much more of a team ethic if you do take out a manuscript.
Right. That's what our goal was and still is.
Awesome. And so you sort of, when I looked in the site, you also do like you have the traditional side for traditional publishing, but you also help writers who want to self-publish as well.
That's right, because a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5, we were being approached more and more by writers who wanted an editor or they wanted to hire a cover artist, and they kept asking us where to go. And we had a whole stable of this talent. And so we kind of said, well, we could vet them. And if you were an author and you wanted an artist, you'd know that we stood behind them. so you could hire an artist through us that we had confidence in. So that's kind of how that started, and then it snowballed into helping them format and helping them get print books and just a whole a la carte of services, whether you wanted to just cover art or whether you wanted us to take the whole thing and publish it with you as a self-pubbed author.
Awesome, that's great. So yeah, so you're very eclectic. So I mean, if someone wants to go to a traditional publisher, you'll make sure that they're informed of if they're going to be accepted or not. So you keep the communications loop open. And if somebody wants to self-publish, you have all kinds of a la carte and different services that you can offer.
Exactly.
Awesome. So yeah, so in terms of the genres you kind of specialize, I mean, Santos kind of touched on that. So, and I saw that you have a call for a Christmas series that you're doing. Is that an ebook series? And so, and I guess it's for release in 2023. Or what's the process for people participating in that sort of Christmas series you're doing?
So many times over the year, we will put a call for submissions out, is what it's called. We'll come up with an idea. Last summer, we had one called One Scoop or Two. It was about ice cream. You had to write a story about ice cream. And this year, it's Christmas in the Castle. So we're looking to get more historical books in, and in particular, ones that take place Regency times, medieval. So we came up with Christmas in the Castle to encourage authors that write in that genre to submit stories in that time period. And then they will come out probably next Christmas of 23. It's way too late for this year. But they will be an ebook, or if they're long enough, they'll go into print as well. We have a 45,000 word minimum to go into print book.
Oh, okay. 45,000 words.
Right. 45,000 words is about a 100-page book, and we find anything smaller than that, it's just too small of a book. It's almost like a comic book. So we need it to be a certain length to make sense.
I see.
Awesome. So the authors who want to participate in that, so are they submitting just one story, or are you looking for a collection of stories?
Just one. They go to our website, look at the submission guidelines, submit one story. We don't do a lot with anthologies, which is the collection of short stories, but we have done a few. We prefer to have one-offs, one story, or then you have another story, but they're separate. They're not in the same book.
Awesome. And you also have the Jelly Bean series I saw as well?
Jelly Beans and Spring Things is to encourage our authors to write some things about springtime. We didn't want to make it just an Easter series. We certainly didn't want to make it something religious, but we wanted spring. So if they write something about Easter with Jelly Beans, that's fine. But we really are looking for springtime. What's the old saying? In springtime, when a man's fancy turns to love, or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. So sort of like books that have sort of romance in the air, sort of romantic theme.
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic. Awesome. That's good stuff. So you're very sort of eclectic. So with all these different genres and stuff. That's awesome. And you've gotten the awards. Can you tell us about some of the awards you received recently?
Well, so one of the awards that I'm always the most proud of is we've received the award for Best Publisher of the Year for 12 or 13 of our 16 years in business. And there's a website called Predators and Editors where writers can go to find out about publishers and editors and if they're good or bad. And they put this poll out every year. Tell us your best publisher. And we've won that award for, I believe it's 13 years running now.
Wow, congratulations.
So I'm the most proud of that one. But a lot of our authors are award-winning. They put their books up for contests and they win, and we publish those on our website. So we have several of those ongoing.
Awesome. So in terms of submissions, so you're I guess you're accepting submissions anywhere from across New York State, United States, and the rest of the world, or
all over the world. I have authors in every state in the United States. We also have them in, I believe, 16 countries. We get submissions from everywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fantastic. It's great to get that feedback, from people, from authors who are pleased with your services, and get that sort of, and reinforce it through the awards you receive, because that means you're doing a great job and there's a lot of appreciation for what you do.
Well, a lot of it's about customer service. You have that with any business. If you you know, you have to take care of your customer, whether my customer is my authors or whether my customer is my readers. I want to make sure that they're having a good experience with us.
Are there any sort of stories that come to mind in terms of experience that authors have had, and that they say, you know what, I'm so glad I came to you because this, you know, I went to, you know, whatever a publisher and they ignored me, or like I've had experiences as well where, you know, writers have told me that all kinds of horror stories and anecdotes. So there's any sort of interesting anecdotes that come to mind in terms of people, authors, which came to you because of some experience they've had that they might want to share? Or
well, I think there's a lot of, or there have been a lot of small publishers out there that they think this is easy, so they open up a publishing house and they think they can just publish books and make money. And the reality is it's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of team effort. And I've had a lot of authors come to me and say, you know, they were going to publish my book, we got it through edits, and then they closed their doors and walked away. I've never heard from them again. So we help a lot of those authors. We take what they have and work with them. Over the years, you know, since we started 16 years ago, there's been a lot of publishers come and go. And so we've worked with a lot of authors who have kind of lost their publishing home or contract.
Yeah, yeah. One of the experiences that I find with some authors is that they will spend like years and years in writing their book, but when it comes to the actual focusing on the marketing of the book, it's like oh, I'm not interested in marketing. People, if my book's good, people will buy it. Like, do you sort of confront those experiences with authors who would spend like 20 years writing a book, but they don't want to spend too much effort in terms of the marketing? Like, how do you deal with the sort of the marketing component of what authors' expectations are?
So that's a huge piece right now, because authors do expect and they think that being with a publisher means they don't have to market. And unfortunately, today's market, there's so many thousands of books that hit Amazon every day, wow. That if you don't do marketing, if you don't promote your book, it's no different than putting your book in a bottle and throwing it in the ocean and hoping someone finds it, because nobody's going to find you in this ocean of books. We help authors. We're working right now, as a matter of fact, on a marketing guidebook, because we're asked all the time, what can I do? What can I do? And we do have a social media manager and we have a marketing director, but they are, you know, just two people with all these authors. So we're putting together a guidebook. We have workshops. We have classes to help with marketing. We do everything we can to educate the author, going back to the old, you know, you give a person a fish they eat for a day, you teach them to fish they eat for a lifetime scenario. It's the same thing. If we can teach them to market, then it's helping them and helping us, rather than just do it for them.
Definitely. Awesome. So it's great you're kind of you're so eclectic and involved in those sort of areas that are essential to get book sales, because I know from experience that they're, you know, like as far as the authors and stuff, is that you know, they're not again, they're not really Amazon for me is almost like a blessing and a curse, is that increased accessibility in terms of book publishers and authors. But I heard some crazy story on YouTube when I was listening to this author who said that, I think she said that she has in her past like 3 years, she's written like over 700 books, and I'm thinking, wow, how could he do? And I guess it's like low content books, whatever you call them, but still, it's like, how do you actually write 700 books in like 3 years? Like, you're writing 3 books a day. So all these books are flooding the market.
Yeah, saturated the market.
And so that's why it's so essential to make an effort to distinguishing yourself, because you have these authors who are just like pumping. They're not concerned about quality, and eventually some of them do sell very well, but that's after they've loaded the market with hundreds of books that are not that good, and then people see these books crap. So you have to. They're used to all these kind of books that look like, oh yeah, that was somebody must have written and published that in like 3 or 4 hours. So you have to really separate yourself from these.
Yes. That's the challenge today, to be honest with you. That's the biggest challenge.
You have to stand out.
Exactly. So you kind of like, you know, educate authors about the importance of, you know, making their own effort and publicizing themselves and how to do it, and you sort of encourage them to make an effort, at least try to put their own book out there.
Well, and to make sure it's a quality product. I mean, that's one
Yes.
thing with being with a publisher. You know, it's awesome if you want to self-publish and you can do a very good job at it. But the reality is, when you're with a publisher, at least you know there's been some quality control. You know that that book is a good book. And when you spend your money on it, you know that you're going to more than likely get a good story. Self-publishing, and I don't mean any offense to self-published authors. There's some wonderful ones out there. But like you were talking about, there are a lot that just write it, throw it out there, write it, throw it out there. And that's not good for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good for anybody. I mean, it's like it loads the market with people, and then too many people start to be skeptical that, oh, maybe one of those crappy books out there. So it's kind of like they're not really, it's like you have a house and you're just dumping garbage in your front lawn and don't care how it affects property values, and you just dump.
Well, I think that's a wonderful analogy, because it's the value, right? It's been devalued. A lot of authors just give their books away for free.
Yeah.
And that makes it even tougher when we try to sell books. Because people will say, well, I can get all these books for free. Well, you're getting what you paid for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. That's
you had a question, Santos?
Oh no, it looks like they're almost playing like a numbers game, like these people who like publish like 100 books in a year or whatever, something crazy. They're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put as many as I can, and if it sticks, you know, just throwing everything up in the air.
The algorithms, right? When you have more stuff out there, the algorithms at Amazon and other places, it messes with them. So yes, that's a game.
It is, and it's unfortunate. The quality has come down. And,
yes.
And who knows how many great authors, potential authors out there are not being found because of these kind of these clowns who are just like, you know, running a circus with their books here.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
So I guess your books are accessible from like not only just Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the different ebook retailers. Like, what are some of the places that people can get your books and how to find them?
So our ebooks are available on, iStore. You can download them for your iPhone. They're available at barnesandnoble.com. Pretty much anywhere you want to buy an ebook, you can buy our books. The print copies are on Amazon. They're able to be ordered through the Ingram Book Catalog, and they're also available on our website. But our print books are print on demand. We don't have mass market runs where we're in bookstores on the shelves. We are just available online for the print books. So pretty much everywhere you can buy an ebook, though, you can find us.
Okay, awesome. That's good stuff. So so you've definitely widely accessible stuff at all the different online retailers.
Right. And libraries as well.
Sorry?
Libraries as well.
Libraries. Okay,
sure.
Cool. Awesome. So are there any particular book releases that are sort of that you're planning in the next months or so that you want people to be informed about, that in new book releases?
Well, right now, we're heading heavy into holiday season. We have a lot of books coming out for the holidays. Last year, we began a series called Christmas Cookies, and every book had to do with a different cookie. So starting this month in November, we've got a whole bunch of these Christmas cookie stories coming out. Those will be kind of fun. We've got a couple new Christmas novels coming out this year. Those will be hitting between now and the end of December. And then by the time I get to the Ottawa Book Fair in March, we'll have a whole bunch of spring books that'll be starting up.
Oh, okay, awesome. So in terms of the Christmas cookies, are they what sort of books are they? Are they like they just have the theme of cookie in them?
They cross all genres. So it could be a murder mystery with cookies. It could be historical. It could be a romance. It could be paranormal. We try to let our authors in every genre have a chance to write for these series. So as long as it has a Christmas cookie in it, that's what we started last year. You can write it. So you might have a murder with gingerbread boys. Who knows?
Wow, okay. That's very interesting. That's something harmless with cookies, but you can make it something else. Like it's interesting. Yeah.
So in terms of like for anybody watching or listening who wants to know about all the different cookies. There may be someone says, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." So there's gingerbread. So what other kind of cookies, like shortbread?
Yeah,
what other kind of cookies?
Well, there's Christmas Kringles. There's meringue meltaways. Any kind of Christmas cookie you can think of, our authors have pretty much covered. They had, I think, 85 of these Christmas cookies stories come out last year, and we've got another few dozen this year. So there's quite a few of them.
Okay, that's awesome. So the Ottawa Book Expo, International Book Expo in March, you'll have like spring themes. So what kind of spring books can people look forward to?
So we've got a couple really good paranormals coming out this spring. You're putting me on the spot talking titles. I should have been better prepared, but we've got quite a few good spring stories. We've got some, like I talked about, the jelly beans and spring things. Our first ones of those will start releasing in March and April. We try to do some beach reads. That'll start in May. Beach reads are those summer reads that people tend to take on vacation with them. Usually has to do with, summertime. So we'll have some of those starting in May.
Awesome. And so as far as paranormal, is your subjects mostly like ghosts? Are they like, what kind of paranormal activity?
Oh, there's
aliens?
shapeshifters and vampires and werewolves and zombies. And, the fun thing now is they're looking for more vampires and werewolves again. We thought they did their time, and now they're coming back around. The other thing that publishers are looking for is mafia romances, of all things. Mafia.
Oh, that's the hot topics, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the hot topics this year, mafia.
Okay. Mafia, okay. The people are kind of still upset that we don't have the Sopranos.
I think so.
Yeah. Sopranos, The Godfather, all those.
Yeah, they're coming back around. They want mafia stories, mafia hits, and even mafia romances.
Ah, interesting.
Awesome, that's good stuff. So, is audiobook something that you sort of thought about, or is that a part of your roster already? Audiobooks.
We do have some audiobooks. We've worked through. Amazon has a program called ACX, is their audio section. We've worked through them to get audiobooks out there. We have not done our entire catalog. We've only done a small fraction, but there are a few out there.
Yeah.
We
I
also
noticed that the audiobooks, I mean, when I explored audiobooks, the profit margins are pretty narrow with audiobooks, they control the prices, Amazon.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, it definitely is. But we have a series called The Wilder County, and that's a Old West series. And we have a wonderful narrator who does all of those books for us. He's like a cowboy voice, and he does a really good job with those. So we have that entire series pretty much in audio.
Okay, well that's good, because there's some books that really lend itself to having a good dramatic narrating on an audiobook, and some people prefer like listening to audiobooks or driving in the road, and hopefully you don't make people too scared when they're driving on the freeway in the States. Rochester, oh my God, what was that?
Very true.
Yeah. I blame Rhonda. She distracted me when I was driving.
Too much drama.
Awesome. That's good. Oh, that's great stuff there. Yes. So, so anybody who wants to kind of get more information about the Wild Rose Press, Wild Rose Press, I guess they would sort of contact you through the website, thewildrosepress.com, and if they want to like explore participating in terms of all these different self-publishing or traditional publishing, they contact you directly. Is the website the best way of contacting you?
Yeah, on the website there's a tab that talks about publishing options, and it talks about all the different things there. There's also submission guidelines. They can send a submission if they follow the guidelines as you should with any publisher, and send your submissions in. We're always open to submissions. You don't need to have an agent to send to us. You can if you do. I have agented and unagented authors. So we're open to submissions at all times.
Awesome. Is there any sort of area that you want our listeners and viewers to know about in terms of aspects about the Wild Rose Press that we haven't really talked about this interviewer before? Any sort of areas that you want to
Well, I
really
think that the
highlight?
one thing that you touched on is that if you're buying books on Amazon or anywhere else, it might be a good thing to check to see that it's going to be quality. You don't want to spend your money on something that's not going to be quality. And to
Yes.
piggyback off of that, if you read a really good book, whether it's ours or anyone else's, leave a review. Those are the toughest things for authors to get, are reviews. And it takes so little time for a reader to just log into Amazon, give it a review and say, this was a really great book, because that is the number one thing that helps authors sell books, is a good review.
Yes,
Very
yeah.
true.
Reviews are very important because they'll affect the algorithm of how Amazon positions a book relative to other books in the same sort of a category.
Exactly. And so authors are always struggling that way. You can't pay for reviews. You can't beg for reviews. You have to really just hope that a reader goes online and gives you a good review.
Yes,
that's right.
That's very true.
Yeah, reviews are definitely important. And a lot of people kind of miss out the importance of, reviews and how it can affect sales. So if just like you do, I mean, many people that go to a restaurant, do a restaurant review, they won't think twice about that. But authors really need your support, to continue to write. If you really like a title, give them a review and give the author some positive encouragement there.
Exactly.
Definitely, that's great stuff. Yeah, so definitely, I mean, reviews definitely help the writer really, advance themselves, and and they do see the review afterwards. I mean, there's a lot of, and it encourages them to, branch. Oh yeah, I got a great review. Maybe I got so many good reviews, I'll write another book like that. So you're really having a strong impact, just that one review, in terms of encouraging an individual and a publisher to continue with their good hard work, and that manifests for that review.
Definitely.
Awesome. So we're definitely really looking forward to, Rhonda, to your appearance at Ottawa International Book Expo 2023. Your spring series, and there's a lot of great anticipation out there. So we encourage our listeners and viewers to, if you have a book that you're interested in publishing that fits within the genre. So maybe you should repeat those sort of genres that you're sort of focused on, Rhonda, for people out there, so that you get these sort of so what are those genres again? It's paranormal, and what are the other genres?
Well, we have, across the board, we have mystery and suspense. That whole genre opens up cozy mystery to thrillers to anything like that. There's, the contemporary romance, which is the spicy stuff, but not the Hallmark. But we also look for sweet romance, like the Hallmark Channel has. We have really spicy erotic romance. We have historical fiction. We have science fiction. We pretty much have any adult genre that you're looking for. And YA is very, very popular. Very popular.
YA, a young adult?
That's young adult, yes.
Okay, awesome. So historical fiction, that's something that I have a sort of interest in. Any sort of historical fiction titles you wanted to highlight in particular that you've been involved with?
Well, I touched on really briefly the Wilder County. That's our Old West series that's been running for a while now. We also have several that are done in the Civil War era, several that are done in World War II. We have a really popular series out of that a UK author wrote about World War I that's doing really well. Nick Arnold, he wrote quite a few books in that series, and those are all in audio. So it just depends on which which decade is your specialty, but we have from medieval to colonial to all over the place.
Fabulous. So is there a question you wanted to ask, Santosh?
Oh no, I mean it sounds really good, and also I really thank you, because there's so many bad publishers and kind of like scam artists out there, and it seems
you have to really pay attention and watch what you're doing.
Yeah, and artists, I mean, writers are like artists, they can be very sensitive, right? Mm-hmm. So if they get their first book like stolen or something, and then they get very discouraged. So thank you for being there to help the aspiring writer to become like, their best version of themselves. And
well, remember, we were writers, so we wanted it to be by writers for writers. And we wanted it to be a kinder and gentler experience. You don't get form rejections from us. You get good feedback.
Oh, that's very useful as well.
Yeah.
Especially for young writers that are just, learning the craft.
We always say that we want you to enjoy being rejected by us.
Oh, that's interesting. I wish more people would adopt that. That's pretty good. Yes, yes.
Yeah, feedback is very important. Unfortunately, what happens these days that you either get a rejection letter, or more often than not, you just get completely ignored and no feedback. Oh, I just sent my manuscript to 30 different places and I didn't hear back from one of them.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating,
It is.
It is.
So the fact that you're actually spending time and giving feedback, it says that, okay, we thank you for the time it takes to send your manuscript to us. This is what you can do to improve next time, so that, that's feedback rather than just like them guessing, and not feeling as if they wasted their time.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's good.
So thank you very much, Rhonda, for taking the time to introduce us to the amazing work that you do at the Wild Rose Press, both as a traditional publisher and as a agent which supports writers who want to find out more about a la carte services. We encourage people to check out the wildrosepress.com website and to visit Rhonda when she comes to Canada's capital March to check out her amazing books. Ask her about how they can avail themselves of the services of the Wild Rose Press and to learn more about the Wild Rose in general. So thank you very much, Rhonda, for taking the time to introduce your amazing book publisher. We look forward to meeting you in person in Canada's capital.
The same. I look forward to it. I'm just hoping our weather holds for us all.
Definitely. I have special connections to the Santosh, and I have special connections to the weather so we'll make sure that he will hold up.
You.
But there'll be plenty of snow.
Drive from Rochester, New York.
Okay. Sounds great.
Awesome. So thank you again.